What's happening, Trey? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am. I'm actually really blessed. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm well. I'm good. I'm happy. I'm healthy. You can't ask for more, right?
You know what? You're bringing feel goodness up in here. You're
Okay.
continuing that from
Thank
T Dub.
Thank you.
You know what? It's a beautiful thing to be connected the ways that people are connected in community.
Absolutely.
I've known you for decades.
Yes.
I feel like, okay, so it's been almost, that was what, 2000? That was like 2002?
Yeah.
Or something?
Because we was at
ER Solutions
ER
or
Solutions,
something.
and I was working there just
Yeah.
to pay for prom.
Yeah,
So,
see?
and that was my second job. I was there and at Fred Meyer.
Yeah, and then I went to Fred Meyer. That's so
Oh,
funny.
my
After that,
gosh.
so
Okay.
you know what? It's just crazy because when we talk about community connections, y'all, we're serious here about that.
Already. Yes.
And you were dancing back then. I mean, you were already dancing. So tell us a little bit about your background and what got you to where you are today. Because I mean, your impact right now is just huge.
Thank you. Well, my background, I was born in Compton, California. I was raised in Chickasha, Oklahoma. I grew up here in Seattle, Washington. I ended up coming here because, I got to that age where everybody's like, oh, it's time for you to be raised by a man. And my dad was here. So I got here, hated it. Just because I wanted, no kid want to be ripped away from what they know, right? And so I don't know, but as life kept going, I ended up going to Cleveland and met my best friend Dwayne Jackson, and he was starting a dance team, and the rest was history. And then one day I was just wanting to get out and explore the city. I was kind of new here. And I just got on the bus. I was like, I don't know where I'm going. I don't even know how to catch a bus. Chickasha, Oklahoma did not have buses. We could literally walk anywhere in the city, right? Or the town. So I got on the bus. I was like, I'm gonna just go and just figure out. And so a girl got on the bus. Her name was Dominique Fields. She went to Renton with me at the time. And I was like, where you going? And she was like, oh, I'm going to this thing called Bubbling Brown. And that changed my life. That was like year 2002. And it changed my life. That was the year that Franklin did like 9/11 tribute. So they all had on red, white, and blue. And they did this huge star that moved. And like Bubbling Brown birthed Koach Giggz.
Wow.
And that's crazy. Because now, 15 years later, Kun Love brings back Bubbling Brown, and he brings me on the board to help bring it back, the same thing that birthed me, to be honest. So like you said, full circle.
Full circle indeed.
Yeah.
And this is something that I think you can't get from people that don't have those kind of ties to what this city offers, right? And so, maybe you started and you're like, what am I doing here? But you really found your footing. And I gotta say, y'all don't even know, like literally, even in the halls of ER Solutions, he'd be over here doing dance moves. And people be like, do that dance, do that dance.
Dancing, like, it's so funny. So I always say, like, kids grow up watching cartoons, right? And with me, like even in elementary school, early middle school, my friends we used to make money during lunch because we would bet people $2 to go to the candy store. Like they could not name a video that I did not know the dance to. So I didn't grow up watching cartoons. I grew up watching MTV, BET, VH1, just learning. That's when I used to have to record it on VHS. And thank God when the slow motion came out on the VCRs, it made learning choreography so much better. I was like, yes. So, that's just me. I've always been, you see me walking down the street, you see me at a bus stop, child, I'm busting a move.
You're busting a move.
I'm busting a move.
You are. And you know what? This is a great thing because you didn't just keep that for yourself, right? You literally have like really self-taught, trained, and then really you were like, look, there's something I need to do for other people. Tell us about that, kind of the birth of, Kutt N Up and like all of these now amazing dancers that have gone through just working with you as a coach. You really have earned that title.
Thank you. Well, just to start off, let me just shout out everyone that has been a part of Kutt N Up. And we're going in 2024, we would have hit our 20-year reunion.
Wow.
And so there's just that's so much history, so just I want to just say thank you to everyone who has made this past 18 years, jeez, this 18 years what it is for me, for Kutt N Up, for everybody that's going to come into Kutt N Up, for the city, because when it comes to like Black experiences, that's all Kutt N Up do, to be honest. Like that's all we do. Like we love it. And it just teaches just so much about like your natural hair. You know what I'm saying? Like how you can come in a space, especially in dance, and everybody look like you. Like you can be thick, you can be slim, you can be dark skinned, you can have pimples, like, and I just walking into my studio, walking into my space, you're gonna feel beautiful. I'm gonna do my best to make sure you feel beautiful inside and out, whether it's a young man or a young woman, because I just feel like we don't get enough of that, growing up, like just people in the community just making us feel beautiful. And
it really is that, and you can tell that the dancers have that on them, right? Like it through everything, every performance I've ever seen of Kutt N Up, these young folks are giving 110%. I mean, they are like killing it, right? They better. I mean, so tell us. I mean, because you're like, okay, I love dance, right? I'm doing it myself. Right. Then you go, wait a minute, there's young people out here that need this too. Yes. What was the birth of Kutt N Up?
All right, so just like my best friend, like I said, I had met him at Cleveland. He was starting a dance team. We started a dance team together called As One, which was interesting because Zach Bruce, if we know Zach Bruce, definitely a pioneer in Seattle. He also had a band called As One, so we was like, okay, we can't walk around using two names. I don't even know if Zach know that, but honestly, I got tired of being double booked because when I was in high school, people didn't look at dance like a sport. It was just like, oh, that's dance. And it's like, first of all, y'all basketball players, y'all football players, y'all wrestlers could not do what we do, like straight up. You know what I'm saying? So I was pushing Cleveland to make dance a sport, and they just wasn't budging, but we always got the lower end of the stick. Like if it was space double book, we had to be outside in the rain under the coverings of Cleveland. So I was like, I got tired of it. And I was like, you know what? Let me figure something out. So I went to Rainier Beach Community Center and I was like, can I have dance practice here? And Martha was like, yeah, if you teach a class. And I like, that's literally how it all became a thing. Right. And so I moved we didn't even have a name then, but I moved it out of Cleveland High School and moved it into Rainier Beach Community Center. Now, one last little part. So my senior year, I got expelled from Renton High School. Listen, but that's honestly what happens when you don't have parental, support. So I didn't have no parents my high school years. My mom was, I believe she was incarcerated, and my dad had just, moved back to California, and so I was just out here. But honestly, let me just say to y'all, if you got parents in high school, like, or in school period, like your presence as a parent is everything, because there's no way they would have gotten over on me like that if I had parents to speak up for me, and we even had a hearing. When I got to the hearing on time, they had it an hour before, and so I didn't have no say so.
Wow.
And they were like, we wanted to have the meeting without you because you're always talking your way out of stuff. And there was nobody to advocate for me, and I didn't know. I know now, and I teach my kid and all my dancers how important it is to advocate for themselves, just in those spaces where your mama can't get to you, because we Black families. So, a lot of us is single parent households that they at work. We can't always get off work and rush to school. So teaching my dancers how to advocate for themselves. So going back, so I got expelled from in high school my senior year, like maybe a month before graduation. They said I had senioritis. So the next year, they would not let me come back to coach Renton, even though we had went to Bubbling Brown that year, won second place. Like, I was finna put Renton on the map.
Right.
Okay. And so I just went to Cleveland. My best friend then was a senior. And so I just helped him with the dance team. But that left Renton without a dance team who had just won second place at Bubbling Brown since the 90s.
Wow.
So all the dancers would either catch the bus or get ride from their parents to Cleveland to be a part of the Cleveland dance team, because the rule back then is if your school didn't have a dance team, you could be a part of another school. So then we were considered Renton Cleveland dance team. Then we went to Bubbling Brown again, and we won first place.
Wow.
And the year after that, Bubbling Brown or Garfield, I love you, Nikita Love, but yeah, it was you, would not let us compete again because they called us a super team because we had more than one schools. And in that course of that year, from winning first place to the upcoming year, we was starting to like Seattle was starting to know who we was. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's how Kutt N Up became. Like it started as Renton Cleveland dance team due to me being expelled from Renton. And then we moved it out of Cleveland, moved it into Rainier Beach due to them not loving us how I felt like we deserved to be loved. And then the name, we were at a show in Tacoma. Me and my best friend was trying to think of a name. We were watching a VHS of the show. And we could not see the person, but whoever was right next to the camera person was saying like, oh, them kids is cutting up. They are cutting up. Like, now that's just a Southern slang for everybody that don't know. And it could mean like you gigging, or it could mean you being bad. Right. You know, where I'm from in Chickasha, like if you cutting up, you're going to either get a whooping or you're going to get a couple dollars. Right. Okay. Depending on. So, and we just looked at each other and was like, that's it. Cutting up. That's it. And 18 years later.
I mean, boom, a real legacy right here. And I'm just getting chills as you're telling the story because I didn't know all of these details, but that is why I love, having Black owned media, because we can actually dive into all of this and give that inspiration to everybody out there. Like, that's really what it's about. I mean, you're talking about 18 years. You guys have changed again. I have seen y'all doing your own videos, y'all doing all types of community events out here. I love that. I've been able to book y'all for some of it.
And thank you for that.
Come on now, every time y'all kill it. Every time. No, we got to get our budget, because you guys are beyond what you are ever being compensated for. You're beyond that. But really, it is the consistency, I think, which is so key. We talk about programs popping in and out of young people's lives. And the idea is that what we need in this city are real staples. It's an institution. That's what Kutt N Up has really become in this city, is an institution for young folks who are seeking to explore that side of dance. We love the fact that there's a multitude. We got Northwest Tap, we got Kutt N Up, we got multiple different ranges, but everybody does their thing, right? And the beautiful thing is that you really created a space and you carved out a space for young people to be able to really explore that. When we talk about the nuance of hip hop and R&B and how we see it in videos. Your creativity is above the charts. Tell us about your process, because I've seen you guys do some phenomenal stuff. I'm like, wow, how did he even think of that?
I know. My process. So, I guess the first thing is I always want to stay true to who I am for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, and when I say that, I just really mean like Black. Like hella Black. Can I say that? Can I say hella?
Absolutely.
All right. And because we've been in spaces to where they were like, oh, you guys should dance more intricate, or you guys should dance more this and dance more that. And I'm like, yo, but all those things that you're telling us, those are styles. So you want me to change my style. And then you go to these things like Monsters of Hip Hop and World of Dance, and most of the judges are non-Black judging hip hop competitions. Does that make sense to anybody?
Right.
Somebody tell me. Okay. So my process, one, like I said, is just always just staying true to that, and staying true to me and where I'm from, being from Oklahoma. Like, I grew up on bass music. So that's why, like, the foundation of Kutt N Up is like let's drop it low. Let's
Yeah.
get it. Let's cut up. And then when I first moved here, people was making me feel like, and this is before the term twerk got big, but people was making me feel like that wasn't okay, but that's where I'm from. That's all I knew, is Daisy Dukes and Uncle Luke, 69 Boys, bass, And so I started taking African dance with Miss Afua. And that taught me that I'm like, wait a minute, y'all is twerking more than I twerk. Yeah. The difference is y'all doing it to drums and I do it to hip hop music. But then that just gave me that, once again, it was another level of, or another place and space in my life that elevated me to just completely be comfortable in my Blackness.
I love that.
And so that's the first thing, like all that when my process. And then I always want to know who I'm performing for, So if I do a Pride event, we gonna throw some Vogue in there. We gonna throw some J setting in there. We gonna throw some Vogue music in there. Our costumes is gonna reflect. So when people watch us, they're gonna feel, watching us, they're gonna feel like they identify.
Yeah.
And that is a huge secret and ingredient to Kutt N Up.
I love it.
Whichever audience is watching us, they're gonna identify with us no matter where they from and what color they are.
You're so right. And this takes me to the clip that you're sharing, because T-Dub told us about this show. T-Dub's like, oh my gosh, I'm in this show, and Koach Giggz is putting it together. We actually got a beautiful clip of you with your team right here. Yes. Talk about all the way with it. You were out there as Mary J. Okay, I just loved it. And I'm telling you, that walk move, I saw that on the thing. I said, oh, we got to pull this clip out. We couldn't get struck. So only 15 seconds, y'all. But you got to see a little bit there of you really being in your element. When you talk about putting on a drag show and then you come out like that.
Yes.
I mean, with your dancers, that is another way that you're like, look, I'm specific about the audience I'm with, right?
Yes.
I love that. I loved it, all of it. Yes. So, shout out to you for bringing these amazing experiences out to our community, for being a real true coach to these kids. I mean, I have heard from kids that have really gone through your program that are like, man, look, he gonna make us work, but he love us, and we know that love, like it's coming from love. Yes. So, I can't wait to touch more base with you as you have events coming up. Make sure we know about them over here.
I will.
We will make sure we do what we can to get people out to support Kutt N Up, to support you.
Yes. Phenomenal. And that's all we asking for, honestly. You know what I'm saying? Like, as long as we've been in a community, we just asking for the community to continue, like y'all been, to continue to show it for us, because I can't remember the last Kutt N Up show that wasn't sold out. Yeah. So thank you, 253-206-425. Like, we really love y'all, for real.
Oh my gosh. If people are trying to connect with Kutt N Up, they may have a young dancer who's looking for this opportunity. Okay. They may want to follow you so that they can just be sure that they are supporting. Tell them right there how they do that.
You can find us on Instagram at Team Kutt N Up. That's TEAM KUTTNUP. You can find us on Facebook at In the Cut. Our studio is in Des Moines. It's called In the Cut, the letter N, THEKUTT. That's also our website, inthecut.com. So we all over the place. You can Google us. Let me say this real quick, because I don't know if you've seen it, because I heard you and T-Dub talking about episodes. So we did come out with our own web special on YouTube. So that's also a really good place to see what we do and what we're about. And some dope stuff coming up.
Look at that.
Thank you.
Well, okay, I may not have all the moves, but I'm telling you right now, we may have to have a Trey Holiday special. I'm going to have to come in with Kutt N Up. I'm ready to do some moves.
Hey, I can teach you how to Dougie.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Oh, it's on. It's going to be on and popping. Love you so much. Thank you for being with me today.
Thank y'all for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you. What y'all doing is amazing. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, we all play our part here. And you guys know I'm always inspired. You guys heard this entire story right here from Koach Giggz himself. Please take it in. Be inspired. Check out Kutt N Up. They are doing some phenomenal shows out in our community. community and really showcasing love for the culture. And I love it because it is definitely all the way Black. And he explained that today and explained to us the inspiration behind their passion.